13. That's it. Final, in theory, the final one of the season. Obviously, we're a bit later on it than we wanted to be, but it's okay. I think it's actually good because it's given us time to have a bit of perspective, think about it without, all the emotions of the final game of the season and everything like this. And now obviously we're beginning to see how the transfer window is beginning to shape up as well, so we can already start thinking ahead to next season a little bit. But we have to review the season in of itself. So I'm Sim, joined by my cousin Aaron. How you doing, man? What's going on?
Yeah, not bad, not bad. Been kind of nice actually to have a bit of a break from football. It's been a long kind of hard season, and it's been quite fatigue bearing really. It's been really taxing. So actually, it's been kind of nice to really not have to think too much about Arsenal from a footballing perspective for a little bit. And it's just with the amount of football that tends to be on nowadays. Obviously, I'm sure we'll talk about the Club World Cup, which is starting in like 10 days or whatever, or 5 days, for example, which is just more football.
And I just don't care about it. Like I
No,
literally don't care.
I mean
Like
basically no one cared about it until DAZN bought the rights to it.
when that even that's a bit dodge.
So I'm gonna
How
say, yeah,
you know what I
like they
mean?
bought the rights
Yeah, they
or
bought the rights. It's not like
given the rights.
yeah, a billion pounds came from like some
Someone,
Saudi firm
yeah,
for something
or
like that.
Chelsea's women's teams under nines, which have been sold to.
So, yeah, to themselves.
Yeah.
Um,
So
yeah,
yeah, so we're not gonna obviously before we get done for libel, we're not gonna
yeah,
carry on talking
exactly.
about that. So we'll, but yeah, it's just nice to have a bit of a break from watching Arsenal play football because as much as we love it, it is very tiring.
It was, man. I think that's the biggest theme for me for this season has been it just, and I think so many people have said it, but it really felt like it resonated with me a lot. Is it never felt like it started.
Yeah.
It was always these little false dawns where you thought maybe now, no, maybe now. Oh, someone's got injured. Oh, maybe now someone's got a red card. Oh, someone's got injured again and again and again. Oh, we didn't buy anybody in January. Oh, okay, and it was just yeah, like to be fair, other than the pre-Arteta years, let's say, in that sort of horrible period between Wenger and him, I haven't, and even then there was latter Wenger years as well. I legitimately used to look forward to the end of the season, like I was like, I'm done, like I don't need any more. And
Mhm.
then the last 3 years, definitely, I was like, oh man, it was, it was fun. We were so close, but
Yeah.
this season I was so ready for it to be done because I didn't have enough emotional capacity left to try and either give a shit or anything in between. Like even the Newcastle game, man. If you hadn't like texted me at 12 o'clock and said, "Do you want to come?" I'd literally, and that's terrible because I'm sitting here making a podcast, but it felt so draining to.
Yeah. I literally text you.
Stress it.
I text you. You said you had a ticket. I then 20 minutes later regretted texting you because I was like, I didn't even want to fucking go right now.
No, no. So you convinced me, like, yeah, I'm coming,
Literally.
and then I was like, cool, okay,
And
I'll
I was
buy a
like,
ticket.
oh yeah, like I said to my missus,
Actually,
I was
it's
like,
long.
fuck. I've convinced him to go now. So I was like, I can't exactly bail now.
Mate, and you really trooped for that
Yeah,
game, and
I was so like for context for anyone who's just started watching now, I ruptured my Achilles like 3 months ago. So like it was or 3.5 months ago. So that was like I was still in my walking boot, and it was I don't
no, you didn't even have your walking boot on.
yeah,
That's why you were so trashed.
fucking savage. Yeah,
Yeah.
my foot just looked like. It looked like Kai Havertz's muscles, mate. That's what it looked like. It was massive. It was massive, lad. So it was really flamed, and it was just not a good idea. But I didn't want the last game I'd gone to that season to be PSG at home because we lost the game, and that
That's
wasn't a
true,
really
man.
nice. So I wanted to go to the game where I thought we could end it in a nice victory, and we did. So we talked about that, which was great. So yeah, but it's just been hard, man. It's been a hard season, and you're right. Like I think when you mentioned about it not getting started, and I might be wrong. I don't think we won three Premier League games in a row all season.
Serious? No.
I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. I honestly don't think so. Like, I think if we
That's
go back,
insane.
I don't think we did. Like, just now saying that, just while we're talking about it, let me just quickly run through it. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
more Premier League results. Was it 23, 24? Is it 23, 24 or 24,
Yeah,
25?
24-25, mate.
Fucking hell, man.
I know. I know.
So, if we have a look, yeah, let's have a look from the beginning of the season. Let's have a look. Uh, Let's go to the beginning. Actually, let me fucking. No, that is an absolutely awful way to look at it. I don't know why I went on Google and did that. Uh, what season is this? Okay, here we go.
I was trying to look for it as well.
So, okay, here we go. So, Wolves 2-0 win, Villa 2-0 win. Then we drew to Brighton. Then we beat
Yeah,
Tottenham. Then we drew to Man City.
yeah, should have won
Then
that game.
we beat, then we yeah should have, but we didn't unfortunately. Then we beat Leicester. Then we beat Southampton. Then we lost to Bournemouth. Then we drew to Liverpool. Then we lost to Newcastle. Then we drew to Chelsea. Then we beat Nottingham Forest. We beat West Ham. Oh, we beat Man United, but then we drew to Fulham. So we didn't win more than three again.
Yeah,
Drew to Everton. Beat Crystal Palace.
we in December now.
Yeah, in December. Beat
Yeah,
Palace. Beat Ipswich. Beat Brentford in January. Then we drew to Brighton. So that's
yeah,
the three, and then drew again.
another
Beat
shit game.
Newcastle. Lost to New. Sorry, drew to beat Tottenham 2-1. Drew to Aston
Yeah,
Villa. So again, start
standard.
again.
Yeah, that was
Beat
shit.
Wolves. Beat Man City. Beat Leicester. Lost to West Ham. That's three, and then lost
Again,
again.
yeah, that was a
Yeah.
fucking stupid result, of
That was
course.
when we kind of thought we were getting started on some run. It
Yeah,
was
exactly. That
gone
really
really
felt
nice.
like a start, particularly
That's it. And then
after.
bang, stopped again. And then Nottingham Forest we
Yeah.
drew. And then that
Yes.
that then started the basically 8 draws out of the next 10, right? Because then we drew to Man United, we beat Chelsea, but then we beat Fulham, but then we drew to
Yeah.
Everton, drew to Brentford, beat Ipswich, drew to Palace, lost to Bournemouth, drew to Liverpool, beat Newcastle, and then finally beat Southampton. So there you go. Did not
Couldn't
win.
even muster more than a three-game run, three-game win streak in the season. Well, that tells you everything, right? We
Yeah,
absolutely
just never got started.
never
Never.
got
Every
started.
time we got a little bit of a three-game win streak, bang, bad result. We're just smack in the middle of that, right? So it was a season where really nothing was really going well for us, except for the Champions League, which I think we put in a really good showing in the Champions League. Actually, I think we were quite good, but
And I mean, you usually want the team that goes on that beats you to go on to win it. And I mean, what worthy winners in terms of PSG? Obviously, you could tell that Inter just looked about 500 years old compared to them trying to play football against them. But yeah, I think we would have given them a better final. Had you know what I mean? Like it would have been
what do you mean? Who?
if Arsenal if it had been Arsenal PSG in the final, we would have
Oh,
given them a far better game,
yeah,
way
I
better
thought you
game.
meant we would have given Inter a better final, and I think I would have agreed with that as well because it would have been a much closer game because we probably would have made a
Oh,
we would have
true,
made a
because
meal
they're
out.
not as good as PSG.
Well, not even that.
But
I just think we would have made a meal out of it, and Arteta would
of
have probably
course, yeah, yeah.
just instead of just going and destroying Inter for what they were, he would have really been really
Well,
conservative.
it happened in the it happened in the league phase, didn't it? In fact, when we had a lot of chances and we ended up going on to fucking lose that game somehow.
Yeah, it's
Which again is also a story of the season as well. Like fundamentally, we scored significantly less goals than we did the previous two seasons. And yeah, if you don't score goals, you can't win games. And did we win enough games? No, we didn't. We drew 14 games. 14 games in the league we drew. 14.
and
We only lost
I
three,
think about
four,
10. I think about 10 were from winning positions.
which again is something really bizarre if you think about it from just Arteta's art, like the art version of Arteta's Arsenal.
Yeah, well, I think if you
You'd always assume that they had the resilience
yeah,
and the
well,
ability to be able to hold those results, but
I think when you mirror the two seasons against each other, so the
mm,
23-24 and now 24-25, because there's such stark differences to with the way the team was, you kind of feel that way. Because I think it's interesting because when you look at teams maybe in the past, maybe let's talk about the Man City teams or even the Liverpool teams who also came second, maybe for example,
mm,
like Man City, or let's say even the Chelsea team, kind of Chelsea teams around the time. Actually, you know what? Forget Chelsea. Yes, that's a poor
nah,
example.
they're a bit of an
They
outlier
change.
anyway.
Not even that because they change managers a lot. But let's talk about like Man City and Liverpool, for example, in this scenario. I think they kind of performed relatively similarly and played the same way for the most part during those seasons as they went on. Whereas we're a bit
Hmm.
different because we played a very different way in 22-23, and then we
Yes.
played a very different way. And we had certain problems in 22-23 where, like, for example, not holding on to leads, right? Like
Yes.
going
Yeah.
ahead and then
And then
losing leads, which is kind of what cost us in the end. Then you go to 23-24, where actually that's the opposite, where it was actually we were really, really good and we held on to leads a lot. So there was a lot of one goal victories, I think probably in that where we held on a bit.
And the
Um,
makeup of a season that usually looks like a title winning season, those sort of results,
yeah,
if you look
16
back on
1 and
them,
1, right? Like from January onwards is incredible.
yeah.
But again,
You expect to win something on the back
yeah,
on runs like that.
exactly.
Yeah.
But in that, like I said, there were like 2-1 victories, 1-0 victories, 3-2 victories, like one goal margin victories there, where a lot of people, me included, were a bit concerned because we're like, well, we're on the right side of the margins here. We're on the
Yeah.
right side of the variance. Like we're on the right side of the chance. Oh, and again, we were colossus at the back. We had basically no injuries. We had really, really good injury luck.
Exactly.
And what Arteta said is true. Timing is everything in a lot of these things. Where a different season against a different Man City team, or if Son scores that chance, and I'm not putting the whole season on that chance. That's not what I'm doing because there's multiple opportunities in that season where we drop points, blah blah. But we win the league if things go differently. But then again, you compare it to this season, and then again, I feel like we played in even a different way again, and we had another problem, which is again giving up winning positions. So
Mhm.
not necessarily winning positions where we're like 2 goals ahead, like we were against the West Hams and the Liverpools and et cetera, et cetera.
In the 23, 24, 20,
But
yeah,
more so,
22, 23 season,
but
yeah.
more so
Yeah.
doing what we did in 23-24, which is playing well, dominating the areas, having the right field tilt, scoring, getting ahead. Because that's what last season. If we went ahead, we were like
We're not going to lose.
shit.
That's
Like
it. That's it. It's
it
done.
wasn't like the
Yeah.
game's done. Like we're winning this game. Like
I'm sorry, we're not even going to draw.
yeah, we're not
That's the
going to
thing.
draw. We're winning this game.
Yeah.
3 points.
Win
Thank
this
you very
game.
much. Right.
Yeah.
But then not pushing on. Right. And I think what would you say is the main reason for that?
Yeah, it's a really interesting point, right? Like you're basically looking at was the way we were playing sustainable,
Yeah.
really? And I'll ask that question afterwards. But something to do around what Arteta was talking about, which was like, and a lot of the other podcasters have also spoken about, which is just fucking luck. Just need some dumb luck to go your way because the way that Liverpool, you look at the results that Liverpool had ultimately, and some of the wins that they had, you could argue, were they any better or were they that dissimilar to how we were the previous season, which is the winning games by 1 goal margins, but if they happened to win the league, right place, right time, when everybody else was falling apart around them, which in our case we were, City were. Don't need to think about Chelsea, but yeah, exactly. So between us and City, we just weren't having the best season. So, but to your point, in fact, yeah, um, putting the luck stuff aside, which again we've spoken about this at length as well, which is like, you make your own luck, you don't make your own luck, whatever. Like it's a paradoxical question in some respects, but yeah, it if you had to look back on what did you need to improve, is our ability to score more chances, because goals win your games, and the reality was, and this is always the case in the Premier League. It's very rare. Like even Guardiola in his best years, always, and Ferguson did this too. He tweaked his team every year. That it was always going to be something different versus the previous. That you don't know how to be able to defend against them. And then the years that they didn't win the league. And that's the reality. I think for me, the the reason why the season never got started was because we had failed to address what we needed to address in the transfer window in the summer. That's it. And the biggest thing that we needed to address was, despite scoring 90 goals, and I think this is why, even though no one will get to hear it, why you blew up when you heard about Florian Wirtz
Yeah.
going to Liverpool.
Might do. We might
But
release it eventually.
we were eventually like a bloopers reel or something, so people get to like hear some just A-grade ranting because it was so good. Um, is that Liverpool are literally looking at the fact that they've won the league and now they're going to go and sign literally one of the best attacking midfielders in Europe right now. And it's a very different sort of profile to what they have, but they know they need to be different because everybody has figured them out. and that's damn sure the case. The technology, the data, the scientists, the coaches, everybody's so smart now that they will know how to play. They'll know how to play against Liverpool. And it was already okay. Liverpool are already mentally checked out by the time that they won the league.
Yeah,
But
literally in Dubai, like doing shisha and drinking, man. And
yeah,
just
of course, like
and
they literally they
like,
couldn't give a shit.
like,
Like
they could not give
yeah,
a shit. Like this whole, oh, they didn't get to the same points. Listen, mate, if they wanted to get to 90 points, they would have got to 90 points.
I'm
Like,
sure if they wanted to, they could have. But
let's just be fucking real right here. Please, please don't disrespect the the professionals who are partying because they deserve to, because they've been putting it in every single day for the last 10 months, right? So they won the league, they're on a piss up. So let's just be
of
honest.
course they are. Of course they are. But there were instances, as Newcastle found them out in the League Cup final, as they got found out fucking in the FA
Literally,
Cup as well,
literally.
in Champions League as well, against a very good Paris Saint-Germain side who we didn't even manage to beat either. But
No, but just sorry, just to cut you off there quickly, just
yeah,
to make one
shoot.
point about
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
Out of the three English teams they faced, Liverpool got absolutely ransacked the most out of
The
any of them,
most, the most. They got
and they got
destroyed.
destroyed. But yeah,
Destroyed.
like,
Destroyed.
it wasn't even a game at all. Like
No, and neither leg.
to be the second leg, I will give them their dues. I think they could have easily ended up like going through because they had a couple chances. They had a few moments where Donnarumma
Yeah.
really was Donnarumma, but really when Trent went off, and this is the point I wanted to just come back to in a second,
Mm.
they changed. But yeah, carry on.
Yeah, that's it. I know. I think. Yeah, just so get you back in on it. But for me, yeah, you're that's case in point with the way in which Liverpool are looking at their squad and the way that we should have looked at our squad in the summer as well. And maybe PSR rules and all this kind of stuff meant that we weren't able to go and sign, the players that we wanted to sign. Like it was unlikely that we could have gone and got Ollie Watkins in the summer because Villa were going to go to the Champions League for the first time. Same principle with like Isak now, like never a hope in hell. So this whole thing of Sheshko wasn't ready and he didn't want to come or whatever. You throw enough money at the fucking problem, someone that you'll get it, man. You always do. So
You have to be able to bully teams, right? Like, at the end of the day, like,
yeah,
you're missing opportunities.
that's the reality, right? Like you two are points that we made many times, which is again, you make your own luck. And in reality, now I'm going to contradict myself in some respects, but it's the truth. Like we we would have made our own luck had we gone and sorted out the attacking depth in our team. We would have won more games. That's the reality.
That's it.
And
Yep.
case in point, and we didn't. We fucking signed Raheem Sterling. Um,
On loan, last minute, and like again, not to disrespect Raheem Sterling for who he is.
no, but
It's the fact that they didn't want to sign Raheem Sterling until the last day of the transfer window, and then they panicked because they had no one else in because they got rid of Nelson and then they signed Raheem Sterling. So if Nelson didn't go, let's be honest, you're not signing anyone.
no, no one.
So
Yeah,
that's the
exactly.
point. I think that's the point we're making here, right? It's the lack of planning and forward foresight into understanding the opportunity that was in front of them, because we're not going to do this on this podcast because it one will just infuriate you, and two it will take too long. But if you actually, and I've done this already, if you go through the games that we drop points in, like, and when you actually break down
Yeah.
the games, right? You sit there and you're like, it's just pathetic that we drop points in those games. Like again, just to quickly let mention Brighton home and away, Everton home and away,
Away.
Bournemouth,
Bournemouth home and away.
Man City away, Liverpool at home, you know,
Fulham away.
Fulham away, West Ham at home, Brentford at home, Crystal Palace at home, Bournemouth at home. And I'm just going through the games, and like as Arsenal fans, and I'm sure Arsenal fans who listen to this and see this, who've watched the games and you were there and you experienced those games, you cannot sit there and tell me that if we were just a tiny bit better, we don't win all those games, all of those games, right? And that's the issue that I think we face here, which is every single season, and I think from literally maybe barring maybe like 3 seasons from 2005 to 2025, which we are now, 20 years,
Mm.
it's always the same story of missed opportunities that were there. We were always one or two players away. And this is the typical Arsenal thing. We're always just one or two players away, right?
Zlatan Ibrahimovic, Yaya Toure,
Yeah, but I mean, but
fucking
yeah,
Peter Cech.
Juan
You know what I mean?
Mata,
Juan Mata, yeah.
at Valencia,
Alvaro
yeah,
Morata,
Alvaro Morata, even this,
Higuain.
but again, I'm like not even I'm not even talking about individuals per se as more a part to like there's positions that we feel like we're
Yeah,
lacking.
they need. Yeah, of course.
And it's a case of we always want to do maybe just enough to maybe get over the line. But like we've talked about kind of constantly, it's not just about winning one trophy. It's not just about getting one Premier League title or one Champions League. And I understand in the short term, if we get one, we will
Of
be,
course.
we'll be in the rafters and we'll be, oh, I'm
Just
like a guy
yeah,
happy. But at the end of the day, Arteta's job is not to just win one title and say, oh, damn it, guys, thank you. What you expect from, and this is what the high level managers do, and I'm sure he does this as well, and I'm sure he will do this as well, and I don't think he won't do this because he's a very strict kind of professional who I know who wants to be at the top of his game. You win the thing that you're supposed to win or you want to win, and you celebrate for the day, and then the next day you're back in the office.
exactly.
You're
Yeah,
back.
and considering the kind of guy he is,
He will be.
I'm sure that very much is the main thing that he's thinking about. He wants to build a dynasty. Of course he does.
That's
Of
it.
course he does.
Yeah, and I think the point I think we're making is that we always are trying to do just enough to maybe get over the line when what we should be doing, and I get financially this might not always be possible and etc., but I think that's a bit of a bullshit excuse personally. We don't do over the amount so that even if we underperform to where we're supposed to perform, you still end up with maybe an FA Cup, or you still maybe end up with a double, or maybe you don't win the Champions League, but you win the league and the FA Cup. And people will say, oh, it's an amazing season. Yeah, but the point being that we want to get to a level where that won't be enough, right? That actually just winning the Premier League and just winning the FA Cup is enough because now we want to have European pedigree. Because let me tell you something, Liverpool now next season, they're not going to be just happy with the Premier League.
Of course not.
They want to
No.
get the Premier League and the Champions League, right?
Yeah.
Man City are not just going to be happy with the Premier League. They're going to want the Premier League and the Champions League, right? So every season that Pep's won just the Premier League, in his mind, he said,
That's not a good season.
it's not,
Yeah.
it's not good enough.
Yeah, it's not good enough. Yeah.
The best season that where he's like, I did what I needed to do was the treble winning season,
Of
right?
course.
And I'm not, and
And he's only won two trebles,
that's it. Yeah, there's only one
But
two.
his base standard is I win the league every year.
Exactly. That has to happen every year because
That's
that
a
gives us
given.
that gives us our like metronome. This is the level we are. We maintain that
Yeah.
level and
Yeah.
we beat the teams we need to beat. But then when it comes to the high level games, this is where we are. And I think this is the issue with us is that we're reading our stories in the press and the media where they start to, and again you don't really know what's true and it's hard to believe and blah blah blah, but about contract extensions for certain players. And I'm not harping on about like individuals here, whether or not I think they're good enough or not good enough to be in the team next season is besides the point. But it's the point being that the contract extension kind of rumors are also then following up with, and we might not then be able to get a left
It,
wing, for example.
exactly.
And then you
Yes.
sit there and you think, well, what do you mean? Like, this is not good enough, man. Like we're looking to build the squad and propel ourselves up and have more options and have more attackers, right? Because someone said something really interesting just before. So Luis Diaz is apparently going to be.
Target for Barcelona.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Ornstein has come out and said that Liverpool have rebuffed this approach. And someone had quoted it saying, we need to figure out how Liverpool managed to always get mad offers for their players, blah, blah. And I'm like, what you don't get, right? And then we talked about this, is that the reason why they maintain value in their players, one is because they win things, fine. But two is because Luis Diaz started the season on fire. Absolutely on fire, right? FPL god he was for like about 7-8 games scoring. His profile, PR went bang. Luis Diaz, great, great. As he started not playing so well, Liverpool fans who watch the games, who I know, are like, this guy is not good enough, blah, blah. And they actually don't like him that much, right?
No, no, no. Yeah.
What this what does is, okay, you're not having the best time. You're rotating out for about 4 or 5 games. Gakpo's coming in. Then Gakpo starts scoring loads of goals, right?
That Gakpo's a G. Yeah.
That's it. Gakpo's amazing. Oh my God, Gakpo's killing it.
Now he's the FPL god.
That's
Yeah.
it. And then Gakpo then starts, and then meanwhile, Salah's doing his Salah thing, which is amazing and once in a
But
lifetime.
he's what? Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Generational players. Yes. Yeah.
But then the other left winger, when Diaz then gets a little bit more form towards the end of the season, then he comes back in. So, and I get people say, listen, the data and the scouts will watch, blah, blah. But the point being is that what we tend to do, unfortunately, and I guess this could be due to injuries or this could be due to just the fact that we just do it because we don't have other options. We just run our players who are in bad form into the ground and expect them to play themselves into form with no rest, with the media on their back, with the fans on their back, with every touch going wrong, like we said with Odegaard, when the confidence is fucking rock bottom,
And the
and
lot and those final two games of the season, sorry,
yeah,
and he was rested. Was he rested for the new? Which game was he rested for the Newcastle game?
no,
Or
he
even
was.
still,
You know,
he
it was a game before that, but he was just starting to get a little bit more, yeah.
exactly. But you could tell that he'd been put on the bench a couple of times, even against Southampton, put on the bench,
Yeah.
only turned up for the last 10 minutes, and he fucking scored. He
Yeah,
hit a shot that I haven't seen him hit
yeah.
in since the Tottenham 2021 game or 22 game or whatever it was.
And when the focus then around that specific player maybe starts to dampen it a little bit, it allows them to breathe, it allows them to reassess, come back in,
Of
and then
course,
people start kind of putting the microscopes completely on every single little thing they do, right?
yeah.
And because that's all we do as Arsenal fans when things are not going right. Oh, his head's down. Oh, he's cutting in too much. Oh, why does he always go to the left? Oh, why is he not shooting? And then being a footballer, we know, and I'm sure we both played for coaches like this, right? When someone's putting a microscope on every little touch that you have and every little thing you do, it's very hard to play football.
It's in your head, man. Like that's like anything in life,
Yeah,
right? Like in any situation, even think about work and stuff. If you've got someone who's like micromanaging you and looking at every single minute detail of what you do and how you do it, you second guess it. Like it's inevitable, really. Like you just can't help but get in your head about it because you're like, actually, hold on, shit, is that good
what do
now?
they
Is it
want?
not
Yeah,
good
like
now?
what does this
Yeah,
person want, right? Is it
yeah.
going to upset this person? Am I going to get hooked? Am I going to get blasted in the media? Like, so yeah, I think we've gone off
Well,
on a
and
bit.
you saw that with City. Sorry to cut in,
Yeah,
but obviously, and I don't like and all that like nonsense about like Rio Ferdinand saying PSG it's a fairy tale story or whatever he said. It's a win for football or whatever it was. It's like, bro, they're nation states. Of course, they can afford. You can take off Doué and put on Barkler. Like it's fine. Like,
yes, they have the highest wage bill in Europe by a country mile.
and you've got yeah, you're against nation states who can have massive wage bills, as you mentioned, and you can have Kvaratskhelia and you can buy him in January for 70 million euros, and you can give him like £350,000 a week or whatever it is, some crazy wages and signing on fees, etc. Blah blah blah. But and you saw obviously like why City have been able to do so well for so long is because they can go half a season without playing with De Bruyne, but then they come back and they have De Bruyne in the second half of the season and they win everything. Or, you had originally like Mahrez and whoever else, and you could swap them out for, at the time, a decent Jack Grealish or something like this.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But okay, there you would argue they're anomalies. But then again, to your point, look at Liverpool. They are owned by
A machine
American billionaires, exactly,
who
who
don't
in
spend
theory
any money really.
In fact, yeah, that's the key point here, because they're the most easiest one to benchmark against, and in fact, they seem to be the more stingier compared to the Cronkies. In fact, or at least they've been going through some more financial difficulties
Yeah.
compared to the Cronkies. Um, and yet, as you mentioned, you can drop Diaz and you can bring in Gakpo. Or you can drop, start Darwin Nunes up front. You've got Diogo Jota.
Yeah, and then you got Salah
Yeah,
on the side, and you got Harvey Elliott. You have about six players for three positions, which you can rotate, and then you have another three creative midfielders for another position, and then it's just again it's
yeah.
less to do like you said with money, but more to do with planning.
Precisely. So, do you think? Here's a question for you, and it's been brought up as well, but it sat with me, which is: do you think Edu's eye was a bit off the ball because he had practically mentally checked out of his role, come even as we were in the middle of the transfer window, because he left in like November,
Yeah.
right? Which is a weird time to leave. Like you think to yourself, you know, and the fact that he was then but put on gardening leave immediately.
Mm.
It wasn't even to say, all right, it's cool, dude. You carry on doing your job until the end of the season, which would make sense. But the fact that he had already announced that he was going to chip way before
Yeah.
the season was even out. So, like a lot of people in a lot of their jobs, can happen where it's like you handed in your notice, or you're going to leave soon. You're going to hand in your notice soon, and inevitably, you sort of just you take your eye off the ball, and you're not really that bothered and invested. Could it be that hence why the panic of getting Raheem Sterling on the final day kind of happened in the way that it did? We weren't able to address that winger situation in the manner that we should have.
I think, I think personally, I'd really hope that a £1 billion, multi-billion pound institution like Arsenal Football Club would have some sort of contingencies in place to make sure that even though someone around them is leaving, Jason Ato, for example, would be someone who can take on a role. There's a handover process where one, that's being taken care of. Two, Edu has the professionalism to make sure he's still doing his job to a high level because one, he's a former player of the club. You'd hope that he has some sort of emotional attachment to the club. You'd also hope that he'd want to leave the club in a good scenario. So I'm going to say no. I'm going to say no. I think actually what happened last season, which we've talked about, was more to do with the fact that a lot of clubs were coming to the end of the obviously the Premier League was coming to the end of a PSR cycle. People wanted to then keep powder dry for this season, this summer, to be able to spend more rather than have to then kind of like what's the word I'm looking for? Like make up for what happened last season.
Yeah, sure.
If we
Yeah.
didn't spend that much now, we can then spend more. However, we still did spend £30 million plus on Mikel Merino, and we did also spend
Your favorite player?
yeah, yeah. I mean, like, you know what, man? I have to apologize to the guy because I don't want it to come across as personal. I just don't think that he's a good enough midfielder to play for Arsenal Football Club, personally. I
Yeah.
think I would take a Mo El Neni over a Raquel Marino literally every single day of the week. Don't care what anyone says. Mo El Neni, great player. Would take him every single day of the week over a Raquel Marino. Um, I just don't think that he's sufficient quality for what we need. Nothing against him. I think he's a really good guy. I think he's really works really hard. I think he's great. Not besides the point anyway. But we spent money on those players, right? We spent £70 million on two players. Calafiori unfortunately didn't play that much
Yeah.
this season, but fantastic player. And I think if he can stay fit next season, we're going to see a real quality from him. So happy that they spent money on a 22-year-old, no problem. If he continues to have the same injury problems that he's having, which were well known before we
Oh,
signed him,
very well documented. He had one season at Bologna,
yeah,
one,
exactly.
and even then he had niggly injuries as
Yeah,
well. But
exactly.
it
Yeah,
was his. He's only got one season to really work off of where
that's it.
he actually stayed
But great player,
fit.
right? So I
Yeah.
get it. But the point being is that you can't sit there and tell me that you couldn't have found an attacker that would have maybe given us a bit of extra cover for £30 million, right? So this is the point. The point is we have just made, in my opinion, collectively poor decisions as a football club when it comes to recruitment. I think we've spent money in the wrong areas on the wrong players, trying to play a style that I don't personally agree with. And that's fine, you know. It's fine to be a fan of a football club and not particularly agree with the style of football that your football team is playing, right? It's not my job as a fan to win trophies. It's not my job as a fan to dictate the style of play that the club should be playing to win football matches and win trophies, right? Um, I might not like it, but if you come home with a Premier League title,
Who cares?
as in, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I will always be more of a football purist,
As in,
and
yeah, you want to win it playing good football,
yeah,
but when you haven't won one in 21 years,
that's it.
it's okay.
Yeah, it's okay to win it in another way,
It's
and
all
I
right.
get it.
It's fine.
If
It's
I
fine.
was to win it in this kind of like box crashing midfielder, not kind of playing centrally kind of way. Because obviously, if you look at that, I'm sure you've seen the athletic kind of
Mm.
breakdown of all the teams and how they play. We did not play through the middle of the park really whatsoever this
No.
season. On one hand, someone will argue and say that's because teams mid blocked us and low blocked us and blah, blah, blah. But what I will say to that is that's not the first time in history that's happened to a football team, and it
Of
happens to
course.
a lot of football teams.
A
And
lot of
they
good football teams.
Thank you.
Exactly.
And they find solutions around it because they have people who play through the lines, there are people who break down lines, and people who dribble past lines. But unfortunately, due to our recruitment and our play style, we have chosen a different way to play. Again, still came second in the Premier League, still got to semi-final of the Champions League, still got to semi-final of the Carabao Cup, essentially not playing through the middle of the pitch. So I think the question, to answer your question, I don't think Edu is at fault, and I don't think that it's his problem. I think collectively as a club, we made some poor decisions this year and the year before and the year before that in terms of where we spent our money. And I think you'd hope that they learn from those mistakes, right? So to swing a question back to you,
Mm,
do you think assessing what's happened this season, assessing what Arteta has said in January about forwards and about
yeah.
strikers, do you think this is an Arteta decision? Do you think he is actively not choosing to sign these forwards, or do you think he wants to sign them, but he's not being given the funds?
Oof.
Because he's chosen to spend money on certain players, right?
Yeah,
Like he's
yeah,
absolutely
yeah.
infatuated with Kai Havertz to a point where it's a little bit scary. I'm not gonna lie. Like talking about how big his muscles are and how big he is.
Huge
Like,
pause.
bro. Like, can you please just focus on the football fundamentals, like
Can't.
taking
He
the ball
can't.
and
He's
passing the
too
ball and
busy.
dribbling and shooting and staying on balance when you do football actions, rather than hitting the gym, please. Like, that's just my ploy to you, bro. Like, I'm begging you, but
Stop
he's
dreaming about oiling his muscles.
so he because he obviously really loves Kai Havertz. Like jokes aside, he really thinks that this
Yeah,
guy is
he
the
really
guy,
thinks very highly of him. Yeah,
very
yeah,
highly of him.
yeah.
And unfortunately, I'm sorry, man. I know you're a great football mind, Mikel, but I don't agree. So, what do you think? Do you think it's he's not given the funds, or do you think it's that he just doesn't think that those are problem areas?
It's wild, isn't it? If you and me are able to sit here and pick out problem areas and it's not evident and clear to him, it was. I think so. Looking at January, it was very clear he wanted to sign a striker, and he made that very blatant.
Striker or forward?
Striker, I think that's like we knew, especially after.
Because Kai was fit though. Kai when he's doing this press conferences, remember Kai was fit.
No, technically Kai was fit,
Was he fit?
but
Or did he get injured before? No, he was fit. He was fit.
no, 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 he was exactly he was fit, but he said it himself. After the Jesus injury, he knew he needed another body.
Yeah, because
He
Jesus was
knew
hitting
it.
good form. Remember he was hitting very
No,
good
he
form.
was, but in January, at that again one of the worst football games that we've ever been to, against United,
I've been to
when
some horrendous ones, man, but that was
it
bad.
it was bad, bad, and we knew it as soon as he turned. He was finished, done. Another stupid Trossard pass that went somewhere where it didn't need to go, and then we ended up putting ourselves into a
What he
stupid
just did was he
situation.
chased back. He chased back
Yeah,
to Bruno Fernandes, made the challenge, and then bang. That's
exactly.
didn't it? Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. And it was all avoidable. All of it was avoidable. But anyway, digress hard. He knew he needed a striker. As soon as Jesus went down, he's like, that's it, I'm finished. If I don't have another forward, and I mean striker, maybe, and you don't know how much they actually know, you would think sports scientists will be able to tell you your boy's in the red zone.
Oh yeah, they do. They have literal. I
Exactly.
work with someone who literally works in the elite sports world, and they
Yeah.
have literal ultrasound machines which scan tendons and tell you this guy's tendon is literally about to snap. Like
Yeah.
you need to
So they would know that. They
no,
knew that about Kai.
rest him, man.
Like, and he's played, and at that point he had played insane minutes.
Yeah,
Like,
when he was out on his feet against Wolves, do you remember?
yeah, he was
Destroyed, destroyed.
finished, totally
And that was,
finished.
if I just quickly go back to, just sorry to cut you off, I just with a
Yeah, yeah,
quickly,
shoot.
that was in, that was on the 25th of January. He was completely flat out.
That was when Miles Lewis Skelly
Miles
got
got, no,
sent
Miles got,
off.
yeah, so we were playing with essentially 9 men at that point because Jorginho also went off at that time as well.
Jorginho also went off. Yeah,
Something
exactly.
like that, yeah.
So yeah, he knew it. He knew it. He knew it. Now, it's a really interesting point that you brought up in terms of, especially then looking at the summer and whether or not Arteta can see the blind spots or how does he want to evolve the play style of the team and what he thinks he needs from a profile of a player. The whole point of a director of football, in theory, is to be looking at the medium to long term health of the club, the profile of the players, the kind of style that you want to play, that's complementary to the coach and how they play, and and then the coach is able to then also consider and think about, okay, maybe not this season, but the season after, I'm gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
And he should have been thinking about that two seasons ago when we signed Declan Rice. You're thinking, and this is the thing. This is actually the craziest thing. He signed three midfielders, none of which are playing in the initial none of them have excelled in the main position that they've been bought for.
Who's this?
Havertz,
Hmm.
bought as a number 8,
Yeah.
hasn't excelled as a number 8.
Yeah.
Marino, bought
Oh,
as a number 8,
okay, that guy.
has not excelled as a number 8. Rice bought as a six, not excelled as a number six, played as number eight.
So I slightly disagree with that last point, but I'll come back to that.
But as an excel, to the
No,
point
no,
at which
as in I mean like as in not the I disagree with the bought as a number six thing, but carry on.
you think maybe he was bought as an eight?
I think so. I think it's very clear Arteta has bought him because he thinks he's going to be the best box to box. As in, I can clearly see Declan Rice is not a six. Like
Maybe no,
he's
as in
he
for
is
sure. Like
he's an absolute fucking monster, and it makes obvious sense that why would you want to stop this absolute fucking galloping fucking like stallion,
horseman,
literally
yes.
horse fucking centaur, yeah, right,
Yeah.
running around destroying everyone to one area of the pitch. Like we saw even in the
No,
PSL.
no, I get it,
Carry on what were you saying? But carry
but
on.
I think no, it's. I do think though, like I mean, let's say the vast majority of Arsenal fans and commentators, when he was signed, he was playing in that position. He was playing at six for West Ham.
Yeah.
Now maybe Arteta's got some fucking, crazy look into the future kind of thing, and what good coaches should have.
Yeah, yeah. What,
But
direct, what, a director, what a director of football should do, right?
exactly right. The best directors of football will be able to look at profiles of footballers and say, right, you know what? And this is maybe the thing with Shesko now. He's 21 and
22.
22, sorry.
He literally just turned 22. He's
Oh, okay.
22. He's 22, so he's 23, mate.
Yeah, exactly. and yeah, there has there has to be someone who's thinking about, okay, well, what's the play style, what's the shape of the team, and where are we going with it, and what's the direction of travel,
A good
and going
example is Joe Linton at Newcastle.
Joe Linton at Newcastle, etc. Exactly, and so you would hope that that is between Edu and Arteta. They're really fucking deep in this, like all the time,
All the time.
like all the time. It
Yeah.
should be the
Every day in training, they're looking like,
yeah, like something's not working here. This or it working for now, but it's not sustainable.
hmm.
And so, which is why last summer really does surprise me, because you made a really fucking good point here about particularly about like, you know, uh, the best teams play mid to low blocks against Guardiola's City. Sorry, all teams play mid to low blocks against City.
And
All of
Liverpool.
them do, and Liverpool. Liverpool a bit slightly different profiles in some respects in terms of the way that the midfield is set up and the fact that they had Trent and he acts as like a fucking
But they don't. But
quarterback anyway.
the thing is, but the way they play, they don't let you. They don't let you because they're on constantly just fucking throwing missiles behind you.
Yeah, exactly. It's a different way of attacking the problem, but
Yeah.
Arteta's from the school of Guardiola, let's say. So in the school of Guardiola, Guardiola does not have very many and has never had really that many box crashing central
No,
midfielders.
no. I mean, like,
Never been asked.
I mean, you could argue Cesc was kind of bought as a false nine when he kind of was
Ish,
that, but he brought
kind
him
of, but not really.
Gundogan's probably the good example of one. He was
Yeah,
great.
but it's not these like powerhouse midfielders,
No,
if
no,
that
no, no,
makes
it's not.
sense.
Yeah, it's not. You're right. Yeah.
And they're techie. Fabregas is techie as hell.
Oh, he's the
Gundogan is
most of
techie
all
as
time,
hell.
probably.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the fact that he looked at his midfield and the way in which he'd augmented it and said to himself, Miko fucking Marino
Or Kai Havertz.
or Kai Havertz for that matter. Like
Mhm.
I fucking do not agree with Clive at all. And bro, I love you, but
Oh, the tactically important thing.
or or that Kai Havertz can be like the deputy to Martin Odegaard. No, he cannot.
No, no, no. Like
He cannot do that. He cannot
so,
move the ball fast enough
so
at all.
I
Like
mean,
it is
listen, by the time
jokes.
he's even got his first touch under control, like the fucking, he's gonna be dispossessed. Like it's awful.
If Rice is the best fucking pure breed horse stallion you've ever seen in your life, my guy who loves donkeys, he's the donkey touch king. Like his
Yeah,
first touch is horrific most of the time.
I know it's so
So
bad.
that's why you put him up front, because that's okay. Like he can
He's
run
a
onto
chaos
something,
merchant. He's a chaos merchant.
which is perfect. It's fine. Do your thing, man. Like having you as a second striker as a different option will be awesome. I think you'll be really useful.
Oh yeah, you might be the best. You might be the best backup striker in the Premier League, maybe.
100% because no one
On
knows what he's going to
280
do.
a week, I just don't think so.
Okay, yeah, fine, but you want to win shit, so you might need to have someone who's on that wages who's sitting on the bench. How much is Darwin Núñez on, man? He's on loads as well.
He's not on that. He's not. Listen, you
Okay,
don't.
he's not on that. He's a highest earned
Your
player.
highest
Yes, I
paid
get it.
player
Yes, I get it.
your highest paid player is never sitting on the bench for the majority of the season. That's why we're getting briefed.
Which would also mean that you're again. And these are big questions, right? And again, I'm not disagreeing with what you're saying. I actually agree. Like, it is kind of scary that he's earning on that much money. So he probably is expected to play a lot of games next
He
season.
will. Yeah, he
In
will.
fact, of course he will.
He will.
And okay, to where I disagreed with Clive on he could be the new number 8/10 deputizing for Odegaard to give him a break. He can't. But it is true. You don't think about football teams as starting 11s anymore. You can't.
No,
You
no,
you
no.
mu- and the problem was too often with Arteta. It feels like for the last 3 seasons, particularly, why have our players all run to the ground is because we fucking always have a set 11. Now
Scoring like one player basically.
that's it at
The,
best, and that's
the,
because they're
the,
just
left, the left wing basically is like the only position that
the
might.
most interchangeables
That's
one,
it. One player. That's it. And the
and
other
that
players are like forced into changes basically because they've been.
precisely because they've been finished. And so yeah, I do think there has been. Is it Arteta's fault? It's a really roundabout way of answering your question, but
It
is
is.
it Arteta who's making the choices in terms of the players that he's signing? I think he's been given a lot more
Yeah. Control.
leeway in terms
Yeah.
of making the choices. I don't think anybody. I don't know how many people in the fucking sports, data teams, etc. The scouts and all these guys, and even Edu included, were looking at Mikel Marino and being like, he's the answer. Like, that's the missing profile. Um,
God, man.
which I get, like, okay, there's two ways of attacking the mid-low block. I didn't really finish that point. Sorry, it's fucking
No,
going
no, no.
long.
It's fine because
But
I
but
understand
the
what you're
mid the
saying.
mid the mid-low block issue, you can attack it two ways, which is you like PSG, you have this crazy rotation of midfielders, right? The most techie midfielders in Europe: Vitinha, Neves, Fabian Ruiz, right? And and therefore you don't know where they're going to pop up, and your forward line is interchanging constantly, and it's super difficult to mark them. So it doesn't really matter. You can be as low as you want, but fuck, God knows who you're picking up. Versus. Okay, right. This season we've decided we're just going to spam crosses into the box and hope that this box crashing midfielders slash Kai Havertz and plus Declan Rice, let's say, are always going to get on the end of it. But part of your problem is that you're now also asking your fullbacks to constantly invert. So you're not even looking at your wing. You're not even enabling your wing play enough with even your fullbacks, other than Ben White to an extent. But when Timber and Miles Lewis Skelly play, I'm sorry, but neither of them are really getting around on the outside enough to be able to make up for Saka and Martinelli not being able to get around the edges, if that makes sense. So
Yeah.
give them an option to get it into the box.
Yeah.
Do you see what I mean? So it feels like someone's got fucking confused somewhere in terms of how to attack the big the those mid to lower level Premier League sides who want to play, and that's why we've drawn all those games against those sides as well, because we haven't been able to unpick them. And I think maybe we should act like a big fucking team, not try to spam crosses in, go and get techie midfielders, and that's what we've always done very well. And we go and fucking unpick the lock. And yeah, and you can't rely on Martin Odegaard to do that. Like, he cannot just by himself do that.
Yeah.
Especially then he's been injured there, and he's then on top of it had whatever else fucking going on in his life. But he came back, and I think he's been barely given a chance to breathe and been forced to play through it. And as you said, he's been fucking under a microscope and he's been performing badly. So if he's your only solution to unlocking through the middle a team in a mid-low block, that's
Yeah, and
bad
get it
planning.
far. Yeah,
No, that's bad planning.
it's like doing it far.
Bad fucking squad planning. And Edu's on that, and Arteta's on that. I know Arteta's thinking about today, and yeah, he should. But mate, like, yeah, it is bad planning, and you've seen it. You've seen it. We're thank God we finished second, and great that we had a Champions League run. But realistically, yeah, it's not
Yeah,
where we should be for the kind of squad that we have.
that's it. Yeah, and I think to your point, I think which is basically what you've said, which is like we need to evolve, right? Like we need to evolve this team, and how do we do that? Like I think there's a lot of people on the internet, us included, who kind of have the answer, which is like we want a left winger, and we want a centre forward, and we want a attacking midfield, like another creative attacking midfielder. And then, for example, you get these, and I'm not going to name them because I just think that it's ridiculous. But you get these people on Twitter who basically kind of like say, "Oh, if you want Arsenal to sign an attacking midfielder, you're not looking at the data, you're not seeing the right things, you're not watching the games properly, etc., etc., right?
Sorry,
Because
I'm watching them. I'm watching them properly.
right, like, I don't know what you're talking about, like, but anyway, like they think that a 18-year-old, Nwaneri is 18, 17?
Just turned. He was 17 until he was 18. Yeah.
An 18-year-old with 1,000 minutes in the Premier League and a 15-year-old who's never played men's football are apparently the alternatives to a Martin Odegaard, right? Who is your captain and your senior antiquated midfielder. I love Rice. Love Rice. I think he's. I will sit here and tell you that I think he's the best central midfielder in the world. People will
Yep,
laugh.
I agree.
Yeah, would not trade him. Don't care if they're laughing. Wouldn't trade him for a single fucking player in the
No,
world. Yeah.
not
So
one.
there you go. Yeah. So that puts that, just draw it under that. But he is not a lock picking sort of
It's
midfielder,
not his
which is
job.
fine. It's absolutely fine. You
Yeah,
don't
it's not
have
his
to
job.
be every type of midfielder. You ain't
Yeah,
got to be me, mate. Yeah. Because hard to be me, right? Yeah. That's who I am. It's fine. But you don't have to be a chameleon. You can just be very, very fucking good at what you do at world class level.
of course.
So if you think that Anitha Nwaneri, as much as I think he's absolutely fantastic, and I would love to be wrong. I would love him to just explode and be the next Yamal and kill it. But if you think him and Max Dowman are appropriate alternatives to a Martin Odegaard, and the whole point that we're making here is it shouldn't just be an alternative, you should be an adjunct,
Of
right?
course, yeah.
I want to be able to chuck fucking all three of you on the pitch at one
Of
time
course, yeah.
and change the way we're approaching a game. If, for example, we're getting absolutely pushed to the outskirts because a team like Newcastle know well,
Yeah,
if you flood the middle, they're not going to get past us. Then you say, actually, we're going to flip it on ahead, and instead of you going 3 for 2 against us in midfield, we're going to go 5 for 3 against you in midfield instead. We're going to get our wing backs fucking flying through. We're going to suffocate you, and we're going to just keep moving it around you to the point where you suffocate you, turn you around, score, 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 and you're like, fuck, this ain't working, and we got to come out. That's how you turn a game on its head. So if you think that those guys are the answer, or you think that XG, for example, which is the fucking dumbest stat I think I've ever I just hate it. I hate it so much. Like, because I don't like the cumulative. I don't say anything. I don't like cumulative XG,
mm,
for example, because you can have one chance, which is like a 0.98 chance, which you miss because unfortunately the ball hits your foot and it hits the bar and it goes off
yeah,
fine.
whatever. Yeah,
You can have like a one where De Bruyne is like, well, I've curled this ball into the fucking top corner 100 times, and it might be a 0.3 XG chance to you, but I do this fucking every day.
exactly. Yes.
And then apparently in the game you've got a 1.3 XG. And do you know what I'm trying to
Yeah.
say?
Just, no, no, no. Again. It's
Individual
yeah,
chances, understandable.
sure.
But the point
Yeah.
being that you can tell me that we create loads of XG and all this stuff, and I do agree we create good chances to a certain extent, but it's very predictable. It's very slow. Caveat is that we have had a lot of injuries, and Bukayo Saka, who was basically our one point of attacking failure in our team, has been injured for 4 months, and it's very tough. But I just think that we've moved very far away from what we understand to be good attacking, sustainable football.
Yeah, for
And I
sure.
think what we're seeing is with PSG this season, with the way Liverpool are trying to set up their team, with the way Man City are now buying profiles such as Reinders and
Yeah.
Shaki, people are now moving more back to, and to be fair, I don't think they ever really moved away from it,
No.
but they're moving again much more into the technical midfielders who control games, who break down low blocks, who create multiple chances in and around the box for your forwards to score the goals, which is basically what football is about. We're moving towards that. Whereas we, as a football club, unfortunately, over the last 3 years, seem to have moved away from that. And maybe Arteta knows something that we don't. Maybe the data that he seems to be so obsessed with is telling him something different, right? But I hate to break it to you, man. I don't think that you're going to reinvent football, my friend.
Well, again, not playing that way. I mean, you're not going to reinvent football. He would have reinvented it already. Do you know what I mean? This season would have won him something. Now, and again, we're picking at two different points here. I think there's the play style bit, and I think there's also player management and squad management, and I think that's really going back to the point of all of this discussion is where did we feel the season? Why didn't the season really get going? Is because literally at the start of this fucking season, we didn't have the right squad in place, and there were players already on their last fucking legs, had played Euros, the England team and the Spain team had gone all the way to the fucking final as well, and they're finished. They're absolutely cooked before the season's even started. So yeah, it's not surprising really, but let's move it along a little bit. And I wanted to get your opinion on, well, let's do a few, I'll say awards, but let's moments of the season really.
Okay.
What would you say was where do you think the season really what was let's start with the worst one. What was your worst point of the season for you really?
Ah,
What do you think was the really pivotal moment when you were like,
you know,
fuck, this ain't our season, man.
do you know, you know what it was?
Right.
It was basically Newcastle away.
Okay.
The first game against them when we lost 1-0 because I think we had. Let me check again the results. Let me just quickly check this. Sorry to answer this very slowly. Yes. Okay. So we'd come off the back of another red card against Bournemouth, and we lost the game.
Yes.
We then had a pretty, really good first half performance against Liverpool, but then ultimately, unfortunately, conceded very late. And then they, at
Yeah.
times we were hoping to drag them down and get a one over on them, which I think we deserved to do. Unfortunately, we didn't. And then I thought, okay, well, this is kind of the game now. I was like, if we don't win this game against Newcastle, we're falling really far behind these guys. And we lost here last season. We do tend to kind of get our revenge in these kind of games. We were rested for the most part. We played Dynamo Zagreb, I think, at home in the Champions
Yeah.
League. I can remember. Sorry, no, we played Preston in the Carabao Cup, and we slapped them guys. I was like, okay, cool. Let's try to build something. And then unfortunately, we lost that game, and we really didn't really look like scoring at all in that game until Declan Rice put a header past the post right at the end. And yeah, I think at that moment, I kind of realized, listen, man, this is just not going to happen for us this season. Yeah. What about you?
Man, I feel like mine. I think it's whilst this seems ridiculous because it was so at the beginning of the season, but those red cards for Trossard and Rice,
Yeah.
I just was like, I was like, this is crazy. Like, what's go like how is it that we're getting these sorts of decisions? And I mean, it's ridiculous, right?
We
Because
know why.
yeah, of course I know why. I know why, but it when you don't even get a chance to get out of the blocks. It really already felt I knew as in whether or not I knew we wouldn't end up with anything, I'm not sure. But did I know that it was going to be a slog from that point onwards, that everything was going to be really in hard? I already kind of felt it because that City game, especially at that point in time where they were still like relatively looking like good,
Good, yeah. We deserve to win.
we would smash them that game.
Oh, if with 11 men, we smashed them.
Smash them.
They were
It would have.
scared, man. They were looking around scared, like they
Yeah, yeah,
could.
they didn't know what happened after that Calafiori goal. They were like, "Oh my
And
God!"
then the
Like they
Gabriel, the 2-1, like they were literally looking around in the box. Kyle Walker was like, "Oh, I'll take Gabriel." Gabriel just dunked on him, and they
don't
were
get
looking around scared. They were like,
it.
"Fuck."
Literally, it looked like Shaq dunking on someone, man.
Yeah,
Like it was ridiculous, and you knew it. You knew. I felt it. Like the Liverpool one, I also agree with. Like again, we dominate them. That dominated them the whole game.
well, kind of.
And
It's the first half we dominated them. Second,
yeah,
we completely fucking destroyed the first half, but then Gabriel got injured, didn't he? So
and this is the thing, right? So it just that one, but it was the series of dumb stuff that kept on happening to us. Injuries aside, but again, another that Trossard pass back to Saliba, that stupid thing that he did against Bournemouth, and you just compromised the guy in a game that you knew that you needed a win in order to be able to keep the pace against a team that are hard and they are good. Uh, and to that point, we were starting Sterling in that game, and he was actually looking decent to be fair.
yeah, we started okay. Like we started alright. Like Saka, I think Saka got a rest in that game.
Yeah, yeah.
Odegaard also got a rest. I think it was Marino and Sterling we started.
And do you know what I mean? So how much would that have done for confidence for those players, those fringe players that we needed, that we want, this thing that we've been
We
talking
should have
about,
won
which
the
is that
game. Martinelli had that chance
exactly.
at 0-0 and he just fucking just misses it.
Of course, yeah, he misses it, but that's the point, right? Like they're really. those moments where, those players who were fringe players or second string players who needed to feel the confidence of I can get into this team and I can affect it and I can help them in situations where they're stuck. They never got that because we would just hamstring ourselves anyway by getting, well, not us only alone. The Saliba Trossard one was totally our fault, but the other ones weren't. But yeah, we would be hamstrung, literally, physically, and metaphorically, um, because of the players that we would end up losing to red cards and stuff. And it just felt like. And then yeah, as the season wore on, the other big thing for me, the Gabriel injury was.
Sickening, innit? Sickening.
Yeah, you know what? Imagine if we had him at the
Against
Parc des
PSG,
Princes
yeah.
against PSG. I'd back us to still win those
Yeah,
two
I
those
think we
those
got. I
those,
think
those
this is the thing.
games.
It's hard because Kiwior was just phenomenal, wasn't he? Like he was
He
just.
was great.
But we lose that kind of dominant set piece threat from Gabriel, which just is just it's an outlier, man.
Or even that
He just
command
scores.
that command just
Yeah,
how he
yeah.
commanded a
He
box,
just
you know what I
pushes
mean?
everyone away. Like he just gets
Yeah,
everyone. Like he
exactly.
stops them. He stops them pressing as much. He stops them. He makes them think about something else. But I think you're right. I think what you're basically saying is that the season, unfortunately, has been defined by red cards, injuries, and poor recruitment.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, let's talk about something happier then. What was your favorite moment of the season? What was the best moment of the season for you?
Yeah, I mean, like it has to be like the same thing for you. I think you're gonna say the same thing. It was just that Real Madrid home game, man. Like I just you know what? Actually, I'm gonna change it. Actually, I'm gonna change it. I know that because I wasn't there. I wasn't there. So like
Exactly.
I'm gonna talk about a game I was actually there for.
Yeah, go on.
Slapping Man City
Yeah,
5-1
fucking what a day,
and
man.
Lewis Skelly's goal and celebration.
I thought you might say that. Yeah.
That was just being
Could you
like
tell? Could you tell what he was doing from where you were sitting?
no, because he ooh, I don't know
I think all the
actually.
players were around him, weren't
They
they?
were around it, but he was doing it before that. But I
Yeah.
don't remember. I can't remember now. Like I think I did get a bit gassed because I thought, oh my god, he's on the Haaland celebration.
Okay.
But I can't remember. But all I'm saying is like the goal itself. So
Oh,
the
well,
pass and the touch inside, and then as soon as he got it inside and he just got it and turned inside, all I was thinking was that's exactly that's what you gotta do, bro.
that's it. Yeah.
Like when you get into the middle part of the pitch like that, and you have the ball at your feet, don't turn away and go backwards.
No,
That's what they want you to do.
of
Drive
course.
into the heart of them and make them make a decision. And that's what he did. And he fucking just rifled it into the goal. And yeah, I mean, that was probably my moment of the season, probably beating them,
Yeah.
slapping those guys, because we haven't really battered them. We haven't battered them. And that was
No.
real like you're not good. And we should have done this to you at your ground. So we're gonna do it to you here kind of moment, and just for Miles to get that over Haaland, obviously, was funny, and then watching everyone's piss boil about it was hilarious as well.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah,
Awesome, awesome. What a moment. It's a shame, right? Because again, and obviously, yeah, my answer's clear as day. Just fucking greatest day of my life. Sorry, wife. Um, playing on the pitch was my greatest day of my life. That is the greatest footballing like watching experience of my life. Um, but yeah, a moment like Skelly dunking on City when we've been waiting to dunk on him for so long, and how we still don't win the league is
just sickening.
it's
Sick-
crushing, man. And
just
then yeah,
sickening, it's like we
yeah,
haven't.
it is sickening. It's just like
We never get to like have that on top of the fact that we
do you
won.
know what I mean? They need to be capped with a trophy, man. Like that's it. Because it's like Reece Nelson against Bournemouth.
Great moment.
'Cause what a moment, right? Like no one's going to take that away from you, but that will never be enshrined in the way it should be
Yeah.
and deserves to be because we didn't win a trophy. We didn't. It didn't lead to winning the league, and that's even to an extent. Like, okay, it feels like a really bummer podcast, but
It is, yeah.
but the Real Madrid oh, man, I'm so gassed. Like, I'm still so gassed thinking about it.
Yeah.
But it's gutting because you know that you've got what a world class moment and what a moment for our club to then almost be there. Um, is yeah, it's gutting. It's really it's sad. Right. Anyway, what's the stupidest moment of the season for you? The
What do you mean?
dumbest.
What do you mean stupid? It's like what?
Like dumb, just fucking dumb.
From
Either
who though?
someone did something dumb, something dumb happened to us, Like, but you,
Oh, it's got to be the Lewis Skelly red card against Wolves. That was just fucking outrageous,
yeah, it was
outrageous, outrageous. How when I didn't think it could get, because I was driving back from the Bart right
Oh,
in
yes, yes,
Coventry,
yes. Yeah,
and I see we got another red card, and I'm like, oh fuck, man. I'm like, damn it.
it's
And I'm
finished.
like, you know what? This one probably is a red card. Like, I hadn't seen it, didn't because it
Just
was
from
on
what you could hear.
TV. It was on TV, right? So
Yeah.
then I'm not driving, looking at my phone.
No, of course not.
I'm in the passenger seat looking at my phone.
Yes.
Thank you, Met Police. And I basically am looking at the timeline, and all I can see is Arsenal fans just getting irate. And then I'm also there like, okay, are we just doing this thing again where we're like, just
Yeah, yeah. We're the victims
can't be that bad.
always.
And then I fucking see a replay that is on the edge of their box,
It's
and I'm
crazy.
like, he's just tripped him up. And then I see like the wider kind of media, other fans saying this is fucking ridiculous. And then when that starts happening, you're like, okay, this is crazy. And then I feel like I'm getting, and then I feel like we're being punked. Like I feel like we're
Yeah.
literally being
It's
punked.
being gaslit.
Like you're joking right now. You're not even
Yeah.
hiding the fact that you're doing what you're doing right now. So that's probably my dumbest moment of the season. Yeah,
That is de la robbery, man. That was horrific.
still
And
horrible.
again, thank God we won the game because I mean, what a fucking Arsenal world would have melted down to
Like, it would have been crazy. Glad we won it.
crazy.
At that point, I was exhausted. I was already
Yeah, I'm mentally exhausted thinking about what could have happened.
Yeah.
You know what I
I was
mean?
exhausted at that point. I was like, we just please just win, so I don't have to fucking sit here and listen to us just complain about this shit because nothing's ever gonna change. But yeah, go on. What was yours?
I can't get over Declan Rice being like literally volleyed. Like he just got smashed.
I was at that game as well, and it was across from me, like it was on that other side of the pitch.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then I was like, oh, he's gonna red card Veltman, surely. Like,
Surely,
oh man,
surely, and
crazy.
he has the fucking tenacity to turn around and say, and the audacity to turn around and say, Declan, you left me with no choice.
And then
Like,
Does the same thing like 20 seconds later, and then he doesn't even do anything about it, and he smashes it off the pitch. Like he fucking smashes it off the
yeah,
pitch,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yes, yes. Oh,
and I'm seething. I'm seething in my chair.
yeah. I'm just rage,
Me and Peter's
pure.
fucking like foaming at the mouth, like.
Yeah, yeah. White hot rage. I couldn't believe, and then to be gaslit by all the media, it was again, I can't deal with it. It's almost as bad as like when the ball went out against Newcastle kind of
Ugh.
vibe territory and then everybody just failed to want to recognize that
Literally like three reasons why the goal could have
Feltman
been
just like
disallowed, and they
exactly.
somehow managed to still give a goal. Like even though they always want to cancel goals for nothing. Like when it's like Ben White just tugging on the finger of a goalkeeper, and apparently now Trossard's banging over the edge of the box to count as a goal anymore.
Exactly. Yes. Oh. Oh
Just call
man.
the ass, bro. Like it's fucking so irritating.
Oh,
All right, let's
so
move on, man.
hard.
I'm getting even more annoyed. Like I'm just getting.
Okay, right. Anyway, putting that aside, who's your player of the season?
Bad season. Oh, okay. Ooh. It's just for me. It's just got to be Declan Rice, man. I think it's just got to be Declan Rice for me. Like, or Jurien Timber. I'm gonna go with Declan Rice because I think I'm a midfielder. So when you're a midfielder, you just like I've got affinity to rating Declan Rice, and I fucking love the guy. Like I literally love. I'm in love with the guy. Like he is.
It's like Arteta and Havertz.
Oh, bro.
Um, yeah.
Like if I'm picking one player in world football, one player to start my team off, midfield. He's right there, midfield. And people think I'm stupid. Oh, why don't you wouldn't pick him out? And blah, blah. Listen, I just don't think any midfielder in the world gives you what Declan Rice gives you. Like
Yeah.
he gives you the tangibles and the intangibles. Like he just gives you everything. So Declan Rice for me is my player of the season. Really,
Yeah,
really
I can
showed
see
up.
why.
Season really showed up.
Particularly, I think it's what's so impressive is just the way that also what a difficult start to the season he
Yeah.
had, and he was very honest and admitted it as well himself to me that he wasn't where he wanted to be, and he addressed it. He
Yeah.
like he whenever sort of around December January time was like right, that's
He
it.
had a broken toe, right, against Chelsea. Remember, he had like a
Yeah, he was
play,
ba-
and
he did.
he still put in like 7 out of 10 in that game. Like he was still fine.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's the crazy thing about him. I think yeah, yeah. Other than that, then yeah, probably Yuri and Timber. And had Gabriel not got injured,
Yeah,
I
yeah. Probably
I
been him,
think,
yeah.
I
Or
think, I think it would have been him.
honorable mention as well to David Raya. I think that David Raya was really good this season as well.
He was very, yeah, he's very good. I think the only complaint you and I have ever had is just and there's nothing that he can do about it. Is just he's just not tall enough. He's just
Yeah.
not long enough. That's it.
Unfortunately for me, if a goalkeeper is winning my player of the season, it means it's been an absolutely horrendous season. So I don't even want to like we had
Exercise that role.
fourth or something like that. Like, like for me to say David Raya, because then you're really saving our ass a lot. And I don't think you saved our ass that much. I just think
No, I don't think so. Yeah,
we were very good. But yeah, I think they were probably, like you said, Rice, Timber, Gabriel, Saliba was very good this season as well. I think Saliba's such incredible high standards make us think that just when he has like a slight, maybe now and again, a couple.
exactly.
So yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
who's your breakout player of the season?
I mean, there's only one guy really. It's as in at the beginning, it looked like it was going to be Ethan
Yeah,
because just I think it's because the goals he was scoring and he was how quickly he had got to like 7 goals or something, and then he got stuck there, right? Because very quickly his team started figuring out, okay, he's going to try and take it on his left, and that's the thing with senior football, right? It's really hard. They and
as a winger as well, it's very difficult. Like it's
it's
very,
super.
so many wingers start off like, bursting the scene. For example, let's say again, and again, no disrespect to Andros Townsend, great player, but when
Yeah.
he burst on the scene, he was basically
Oh,
hailed as England's next best thing. And
yeah.
then unfortunately, teams scheme for you, teams stop planning for you, and he still was a very good player, still a very good player, but he didn't hit the heights that people kind of thought he would at the level that they thought he would hit because he just unfortunately just didn't manage to just break past that point where teams kind of were scheming for him a little bit and it got tougher. And that's what happens with wingers. Wingers is very, very tough to be a great successful winger in the Premier League.
Absolutely. Yeah, definitely is. So I think more of a special mention for him, but my guy, man, 39 appearances, 2 England international caps, a goal on your debut, as you mentioned, dunking on Haaland, 18 years old,
Ridiculous performance against arguably one of the best forward lines in world football against Real Madrid. Just
It
knocked down.
wasn't even a concern. There was not one moment
Nah,
where I thought he's in trouble here.
not one.
Not one. And even in some of the instances where he had a little bit of a patch where he kept on trying a bit too much in the middle of the park, and he kept on kind of losing it, expecting a foul,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. But then he learned. He
Um,
learned very quickly.
yeah, and he's learned already.
Yeah.
So yeah, 100% breakthrough player of the season, young player of the season, whatever you want to call him. He was out like unreal. Now, question, random one, but maybe we can talk about this in a different pod. But I would love to see him play more games in midfield next year.
Yeah, yeah. I think so. I think it'd
Um,
be. I mean, the thing is,
if
yeah,
if you have Calafiori and he's fit,
yeah.
then
If you want to incorporate both of them, however,
exactly.
however, the way we play our left back position, that
Mm,
guy doesn't ever really stay at left back unless we're out of possession.
that's true.
So
Yeah,
I'm fine with him being there because he absolutely locked. Why would you not want to keep someone there who absolutely locks down the left hand side defensively, but
absolutely.
also gives you that burst and creativity going through?
Or
What
as he was.
is maybe him closer to the box. That's what I would say. I like to see him maybe
That's the
closer.
thing, right? I think he has that quality and that ability. You're right, exactly. I think that's the reason why I want to see him more in midfield. It's not because I feel like we're lacking control because he basically plays there anyway.
Yeah,
And he was doing, some of our best games this season when we were kind of doing that like box formation with the midfield, and he would sit there in the pivot with Party. Um, but yeah, when he's close in and around the box, his ball control, the way he uses his body, and the fact that he's willing to dribble into
into
the
the box
difficult
and
places, yeah,
pass into the box. Like so, one
exactly.
thing you said, which was like I was going to chime in, but then I thought I'd talk about it after. So you know how you said the whole like we don't have our fullbacks kind of out on the outside really anymore, right? And we don't
Yeah,
use the wingers. So one game he did that was PSV away, and look
yes.
how good we were in that game.
Oh, we were so good that game. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, exactly. Yes,
Trossard was then bang,
precisely.
and even when
And
Harry
even Timber,
Kane
even
was,
Timber as well
yeah,
was doing that a lot in that
they were
game.
just there, and everything was, and maybe that was obviously planned. But Declan Rice was in the box,
Yep,
Timber was in the box,
yep.
Odegaard was in the box. Like we just yeah. So that was one game where actually we saw him on the
But
outside.
just one, right? Just one. Like out of the sample size, if that's going to be your tactic and you're not doing that,
Yeah, it's weird, man. It's
then
weird.
it's
All right,
weird.
let me ask a question. Now this is probably the last one I want to do these. What's your like? What was your worst take of the season? So like, what is something that you said that you were just completely wrong about?
Oh, that's a good one. It's got his hard. Ooh.
Like it doesn't have to be Arsenal related. It can just be like any take, like for any
Any
team,
take?
any take or any player.
God, am I that fucking beige that I didn't even really like say that someone's going to be this, someone's going to be that? Uh,
Like, but it's like anything that you might have said that you probably got decently wrong. Like you know, or even mid-season, you might have said something and then you end up being just wrong about it.
I'm just trying to think. I'm trying to think. Like, I was never that gassed about Mikel Marino. I just didn't have an opinion,
Like I said, it didn't have to
really.
be Arsenal related. It can be.
No, no, no. I said, I mean, 99% of my life is Arsenal related, really. So it's very difficult to think outside that, to be fair. Yeah, like, not even, I didn't even, like, I always thought Chelsea were going to be shit this season. They kind of were. And I feel like they've just got through on a fucking technicality, just by the
Them and
shit.
Newcastle kind of just got like they kind of they lucked out a little bit towards the end.
Yeah, 100%, man. Like,
But they stayed
literally,
around. They stuck around, which is important. They
they
stuck.
stuck around, but then you go and take that L like at home in the final game of the season against Everton. You're so lucky
Uh,
that Aston Villa got basically robbed in that game. Like,
Fuck them guys, though. Anyway, I don't care.
but yeah, all of them, fuck them all. Like, I hate them all. Anyway,
Yeah.
that got really wrong. Probably whether or not I really like vocalized it, but I definitely thought it was. I thought I, th- and whilst I think Havertz was having his best goal scoring season till now, that I thought he he like was the answer a bit. Like I was more
You
gassed
drank
about.
Havertz Kool-Aid, yeah? Is that what
I felt like I drank a bit more of the Kool-Aid than I will care to admit.
yeah.
I was a bit gassed by him, like especially like that game against Chelsea, like last
Oh
season
yeah, no, no.
before.
He fucking took the piss out of them that game.
You know what I mean? So I was
He hold
like,
off Cucurella and did that. I was like, mate, is this guy really gonna be the guy? But then I realized it's Cucurella in it, so
so yeah, exactly, and that's what probably like yeah makes you more gassed about him. So I reckon yeah, I felt like I drank more of the Havertz Kool-Aid than I care to admit. What
Fez.
about you?
I really didn't think Liverpool would win the league. Like I really did not think that. I genuinely thought they would struggle to make top four.
Really?
Yeah, I would happily admit that, man. I thought that they had a bit of clock burnout. Like I thought after last season, the way they kind of fell off towards the end of the
And the
season,
fact they didn't sign anybody, yeah, I can understand
didn't
why.
sign anyone, and then also Klopp
Uh,
left, and also instead of having Europa League, they had Champions League. Like I just thought, like you know what? I
mm,
don't think that with this transition season, they're gonna. I thought they'd get top four, but I thought they'd struggle a little bit. You know, I thought they'd maybe like find it a bit difficult. But and the fact that they just came through and blasted the whole season, I didn't expect that. So kudos to them, man. I thought I'll admit that I had to eat humble pie on that one. Um,
yeah, I think to be honest, I don't think that many people would have called it. Not really.
No, but I think sometimes
Literally, everybody thought it was our year, man.
yeah,
Everybody
I
thought
think
it was our year.
maybe some of the more intricate football minds maybe could have assessed and thought, you know what, actually the underlying metrics were there for Liverpool and like and
And
because
that Klopp had built basically a very, very good team. He'd gotten through that the one shit year, like the year, like the year
you have
that
a
we
year
should.
like that now and again, you know.
Yeah, but no, it's like man, it's like the year that Arteta when we just missed out on like top four. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That year, or the year that we like the first time we finished second. Like you're like, okay, this is it.
Mm.
You've got the team, you got the players. They're 1 year wiser. Like you got them. Okay, they still had
Nothing's
serial.
promised, man. In football.
Yeah, but they still had serial winners as well. They had Van Dijk who's won a Champions League, Alexander Arnold,
I
Allison,
think all won Premier League as well.
Salah. Like
They've all won the Premier League before, like so we forget that. But
yeah, they know what they're
yeah,
doing.
I think all that stuff doesn't matter. I think people really, really overestimate what experience like to change. That's how I feel. I think people. I think.
I
I think,
agree.
I think people over index experience and what it means to win.
Yeah,
Blah blah.
yeah, I
I think
agree.
it's easy to say that when you've won the title. Oh, sorry. Like it's easy to say when you've won the title multiple times. Oh, we won it because we experienced winning the title, mate. No one was saying that the first time you won the title.
Yeah, everybody
You
exactly. I
just do
mean,
it, man. You have 38 games in the Premier League, and
just do
if
it.
you just win those games for the most part, if you aim towards the 30 mark of wins, you're gonna win the title probably. You know, so that's what you need to look at in the season and say, listen, if we're not winning anywhere between 28 to 30 games to see or above games, we're not winning the title. So that's how I see it. You know, and I think any team like Leicester proved when you go on the right run and
Exactly.
you have the right mentality and you have the right focus and you try hard and you have the right attackers and you have the right people in place, you can win a league title. So I think that whole experience thing and 1 year better off thing, I think it's actually fucking harder to go and try and win a title when you've just missed out. I think it's fucking awful, mate. I think trying to win the title for the fourth time after finishing second 3 times in a row is fucking, oh mate. Like,
Well, I mean, God, if he does it, then
but
you
no,
just
but
think,
this is the thing. Is if I'm a player, sorry to
yeah.
cut you off, but if I'm a player
Nah, okay.
and I'm like Gabriel or I'm Saliba or I'm Declan Rice or I'm Bakaya Saka or I'm Martinelli or anyone, right? Maybe not Martinelli. Let me take that back. If I'm yeah, but it's just because you'll hear the point in a second. If I'm like one of those guys, right, and I know I'm doing my job, like I
Yeah.
know I'm performing at a very, very, very high level, and we're still not getting it done, right? And
Mm.
I'm performing pretty much to the maximum of what I can do, right? Saka aside, I think he's got another level to go up, and he might fine. And we've come second 3 seasons in a row. And I walk into training on July the 1st or whenever it is, and preseason starts, and I look around, the same fuckers are still around.
Yeah.
And I don't see them like I had this one guy, right? And Michael, like I'm sure he'll, if he ever listens to this, he'll be fine with me saying this. Um, we were in like year 9 or something, and like we were pretty decent, but we never like were great, right? So we used to play midfielders, like me, him, and another guy called Jack Farron, and me and Jack were pretty good, like pretty good technically. But Michael wasn't that good, right? Like he wasn't really like he was good, but he was okay, but he wasn't like great. And his dad was the coach, right? Um, he came back one summer, and I think he must have gone to like boxing or whatever for like a whole summer, and he just
Jacked.
became so not even jacked, but he was just so fit, and out of nowhere, he just technically became so good.
Huh.
Like he
Interesting.
was just so good, like out of nowhere. It's like he came back
He
from
he had his
like,
rocky
in
summer,
school,
man.
and,
That
yeah, like,
boy.
and then comes in fucking September, and then he's
Mm.
in the school team, and he's like one of our best players, and we just go up a whole another level next season. Like
Yeah.
we just start smacking everyone in the league, and everyone even in the league who we played against in the last 2 years is like, what the fuck? What happened to this guy?
Mm.
Right? And we just got because he just gets so much exponentially better that we just start just destroying teams. Unless someone fucking does that in the squad,
Totally.
like, well, what's happening? So if they look around and they see the same fuckers around them and no one's there, and like a Mesut Ozil doesn't walk through the door,
Oh
and
yeah.
Alexis Sanchez doesn't walk through the door. Do you
Yeah.
get me? Do you get me?
Yeah, I
Like
get you. I get you. I think, yeah, you're right. You're right.
Nicholas
Who's
Anelka, a Nicholas Anelka doesn't walk through the door, right? A Dennis Bergkamp doesn't walk through the door. They're gonna be like, oh, it's hard, and if as soon as things start to kind of not go their way, you start to get that voice in your head again of
yeah, we just haven't got it.
we haven't got it.
We
Do I
haven't
need
got
to
it.
start thinking about like I know people hate it and will abuse Jamie Carragher for saying this, but he's fucking got a point. Do you start thinking, "Ugh, I don't know if we're gonna get it done here, and I've got to think about my career here, and I want to go win stuff, and that goes for Gabriel, Saliba, Rice, and
Yeah, for sure. For
right.
sure, for sure.
So you need to do something that lifts the morale of the team, that gets them to think that, you know what, maybe even if things are going different, some things are different this season because we've got this guy and we've got
Hmm.
that guy, you know? So you
Hmm.
need to influx your team with new, fresh blood, fresh talent, and sometimes recycle and get rid of some of the guys who are just not putting their weight, you know?
Hence,
That's what I think is it's sometimes it's tougher, man, if you don't give them a reason to be excited. Because players need to be excited too. You know, when new players get
absolutely,
brought out,
man.
club, and they're like someone was fucking decent, I would get gassed. I would like sick. No offense to the guys who want the team ready, but you're fucking shit, mate. Like I'm glad this guy's taking your place because now I can start passing to your guys who score.
No,
Right?
I remember it, man. Exactly. It's Sunday League kids football, but I remember this kid from Japan came. God knows why he was in Telford, but he came to Telford. I think his dad got some crazy job at like
Literally the only Japanese person in Telford.
literally the only Japanese person in Telford, like at Fujitsu or something, because they had like a base there back in the day.
Yeah.
And I shit you not, I have never seen a kid play football like him. Like it was a joke. Like why he even came to our team in the first place was so random, but he did. And we all looked around and we were like, "Holy smoke, we're gonna win everything
Yeah.
because this kid is out of this world." Like, I ball control that made no sense at that age. Like it was insane.
And you as a footballer, and you as a also a very good player on the team, maybe one of the best players in the team, right? You sit there like, oh, thank God, I don't have to fucking do everything now.
But
Like,
this is even till football today. Like this is exactly the same.
yeah,
Nothing changes. Like even if you're playing shitty six-a-side football, I promise you, if you know that you have to games where you're like, okay, I'm gonna have to do like
everything.
everything.
I've got to drag us to everything, and it's fucking hard, man.
Yeah, exactly. And that like to that point, right? Like,
And you get injured, and you get injured,
oh yeah, and
and
that's
you hurt yourself, and you tear your
yeah,
hamstrings, and you rupture your Achilles, and you do
yeah,
your ACLs, and you do your meniscuses because you're doing the running and you're doing the stuff for other people because you haven't got the help in it,
yeah,
you know,
and you haven't got the
because you
help,
haven't got the guy who means that you, for example, Bukayo Saka, can just say, you know what, today I'm just gonna give it about 50% today because it's fine because fucking Martinelli's on it, and
because someone, yeah, exactly, and you need that help, right? And that's the only way that you can manage these seasons. And so, like again, and I still hate him with my guts, and both the players that I'm going to mention now, I borderline despise. One of them particularly, but Van Persie and Fabregas understood it. They
yeah.
got it. The reason why they left was because you're not going to bring me the help I need.
Yeah, and he said that in an interview recently. Did you see the Fabregas interview recently?
Oh, no, it's on my things to
He
watch on
said it.
YouTube.
He
Yeah, okay,
basically
yeah,
said the reason why like he felt like he had to leave was because he was like playing 60 games a season. We weren't aggressive enough in the transfer market to get players to win the Champions League. He was playing 60 games a season. He was coming back from injury, having to play 100% again. Do you remember? So we all fucking remember that Aston Villa game, right? We all remember that Aston Villa game where he's on the
yeah,
bench. He's basically like fucking torn his hamstring still, and he still comes on, scores 2 goals, wins us the game, and
and
then
then
they
goes
shut
off
down
again. It's
weeks because he's
finished.
just fucking destroyed. And it's like,
Yeah,
man, like, damn, this guy
yeah.
needs some help. And they don't get it. And they don't get him help.
No,
And they don't get him
and
help.
it's part again. Koscielny was the same.
Yeah.
Koscielny literally had the same reaction. He was like, you've literally." I told like that Europa League semi final. His same thing that happened to you happened to him.
Yeah.
His Achilles just popped, and he was like, "It's gonna pop. Like I can't play this game.
And,
Please don't
and,
play me in this
and
game."
look what it cost him. Look what it cost him.
Yeah.
It cost him a World Cup winning medal. Because he
Yes.
was the starting centre
Exactly.
back for that team, and they would have won everything because they were the best team by far. And he was
Of
the one.
course.
He was their best defender. He was fucking
Yeah.
unreal.
Yeah.
And do you remember how sad the players were for him? Like they
Oh,
when
they were good for him.
they won the World Cup, they were FaceTiming him, like
Yes.
saying
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
and then or not FaceTime, they had him like as in like they were with him because they were like, you got us here, and we're so sorry that and no wonder he was vexed when he left. No
Yeah.
wonder
Of
because he
course.
got right into the
Yeah.
ground for a fucking shitty Europa League. But you know,
Shivrobili.
let's maybe end it there.
Yeah, knock it on the head, man. We
Yeah.
got to do a next, squad review and stuff. So we look ahead to the transfer market and things. But this has been it's been cathartic, man. It's been good to
Good.
air it out. It's been well, yeah. I felt like it's
It's
going
been good. I
taken
think
more
a
of a
lot of
negative
people,
turn.
yeah, I think a lot of people will, if they do listen to this, will really resonate with a lot of stuff that we've said and understand the frustrations and where we're coming from and and I don't think we've been overly harsh really to anyone in particular. I just think that we've posed questions that think that a lot of people have asked and really kind of really like given a good a kind of outlay of to why we felt so kind of exhausted at the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I hope no one goes away after listening to this and thinks that these guys are just like, a bunch of like sensationalists and
Mm.
that they don't they expect too much from the football club and look what we're up against and stuff like this. I I honestly think that we're not because of the squad that we have, where they're at, the quality of the footballers, and actually, in fact, the quality of the coach. And you look at the setup, you look at the training ground, you look at the facilities, you look at the stadium.
How much the fucking season tickets cost?
How much season tickets cost? Like, literally, we're paying the most money, man. The most in world football. Like, no one pays more for tickets than we do. So, and again, like, it's a hard thing, right, to reconcile. Like, okay, you go to the ground, you got to be supportive of the team, and you got to like, you don't want to be those fucking asshole fans who just sit there booing all the time and shit like this. Like, that's the worst. Like, and just no, you mustn't feel like entitled. Again, that's the word I'm looking for. I don't want to come across to anyone that we're entitled here, but just to want to strive and push for excellence because not only do we think as a fan base do we deserve it, but these players deserve it, and that's what Arteta was saying literally in his thing as well. So if he thinks the players deserve it and the staff deserve it, well then he fucking deserves it. So then we need to have this summer is like I'm sorry, like whether or not if he finishes second again next season and what the conversations will be like then, God knows. But this is the most important summer of every single one of those persons' careers at that club. Like it literally is, because whether or not you like to say it, but Carragher and Neville, fucking assholes that they are, but they're right, is they need to win something. And it's and I'm sorry, and even like even other Arsenal commentators like Elliot said it as well. I'm sorry, League Cup and FA Cup is not enough.
I'm not gonna cut it.
It's not going to cut it.
Not
They
gonna
ain't
cut
going
it.
to cut it. It ain't going to cut it. Like
That's a
it
lot.
is the Premier League and Champions League.
That's a lot of pressure to
Yeah,
put on someone because, as we know, you can be really fucking good and still not get it done. But guess what? Because you haven't got it done in the last 3 years, that's the pressure you're under.
that's it. You set your standards, right? You set your
This,
standards,
this
and
is
then
elite.
yeah,
This is elite world football. But yeah,
yeah. Oh mate, it's been good.
good stuff. We
Good
will
stuff.
hopefully catch you soon. We'll do another one soon. Actually, hopefully I'll pop around and we'll do like a player review and we can do
Yeah,
that.
that'd be good, man. And hope I have, particularly after that stupid Club World Cup or something, then we can.
Yeah, yeah.
And then maybe the transfer market starts like shaping up a little bit.
And we'll have
Obviously
a
we
bit
need
more to talk about on that side.
exactly, and then there's still Zubameni and stuff to talk about. So I think it's going to be
Nice.
a good summer to talk about stuff. But
Cool.
yeah, we can have a break as well. All right,
Nice.
man. Been a pleasure, dude.
You too,
Take it
man.
easy.
So yeah. Bye bye.